Hey guys, today I have my foundation routine for winter for you. I said back when I did my summer one that I wanted to do a winter one because I have very dry skin. So I find it's very hard to find products that actually work on my skin, don't cake up. Good boy. Don't cake up, don't dry out my skin, sit nice pretty much. And I have found a couple products that work really well this year that I wanted to go ahead and share with you. So right now I'm not wearing any makeup, so you can see, usually my skin's not too bad. Right now I actually do have quite a few blemishes, not like huge, just little ones here and there, as well as like a weird dry patch right here. So, but mostly my skin's not too bad. I've been doing a very good job moisturizing it this year, so it's not quite as dry as it was in previous years during the winter, but it's still pretty dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. The only thing I've done so far today is put eye cream under my eyes as well as over them, just because that area has been very, very dry this year. So it's essential. Now the product that I use a lot of days is Benefit You Rebel Light, just because it's majorly moisturizing and dewy, which gives me a much more lifelike look to my face than, you know, the deadness that is going on right now. I was mixing this with my Neutrogena Healthy Skin in Natural Ivory, and I love the combo of these two because this one's a little too light for me. This one's a little too dark, so the mixture is nice for color, as well as this one has a pretty full coverage, but it's not quite dewy enough for me. And this one maybe is a bit too dewy and not really any coverage. So the mixture is really nice. I am running low on this, so I think today I'm just going to go ahead and do what I've been doing the last couple days, which is mixing this concealer with it. This is a moisturizing concealer. I used this a lot last year before I really used foundation. This is Revlon Age Defying Moisturizing Concealer and Cream. I don't think they make this particular one anymore. They do make another Age Defying one, which anything with like ageless, age defying, anything like that is going to be good for dry skin because older skins tend to be drier. So that's just a hint. Look for like tinted moisturizers and that kind of thing for moisture. And I like to take this concealer and mix it with this because, well, it's a little goes a long way type thing. So when I mix them with that, it's like using foundation and it helps me get some coverage. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. First thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and I don't do this every day, but sometimes I just spray my face beforehand. This is one of my must-haves, which is Evian facial spray. It's made of mineral water and it moisturizes, refreshes, and tones, so it's really nice to use before your makeup. I don't always do that when I'm using like Rebel Light because it already is moisturizing, but today I just thought I would go ahead and show you that that's what I do when I want to use that. So I'm going to go ahead and I do about that much of Rebel Light, and then I take whatever you're mixing with it, and I usually take a little less of whatever I'm mixing with it, just because I don't want a heavy amount of coverage. That's probably good. We'll see as I go if that's enough. In fact, I'm going to add just a bit more. There we go. Now the brush I always use for whether I'm using this combo or like my Revlon Color Stay Whipped Cream Foundation, which I am almost out of, or whatever, I use this brush. This is the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. It's really excellent for buffing in like foundation and stuff. So what I do before I use that is I just spritz it. And then I take and I mix these foundations together and buff them into my skin in a circular motion. And this amount of product will go a very long way, so spread it as much as you can because it will give you coverage too. Just make sure you go down your neck a little, just in case the color match isn't right on. I think it is pretty close for me, but, you know, always a good idea. Alright, and then the last thing I really do with this is I take my ring fingers and I go in and just buff it, because I find sometimes your fingers can do much better than a brush. So I go in like little areas that tend to crease and stuff. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and take my concealer. This one I love. I recently picked it up and it's so great. It's the CoverGirl and Olay Simply Ageless Eye Corrector. Again, the Ageless. This one has a sort of moisturization running through it. So, because my acne tends to be actually very dry acne, so like if I put concealer over it will cake. This stuff is very lightweight and again moisturizing, so it won't really cake and it will add a little extra moisture. So it's pretty fantastic. And it is an eye corrector, but it's a yellowy toned one versus the Benefit Erase Base, so it tends to go well over acne as well, I find. But I usually only conceal under the eyes unless I have a really glaring problem. Or maybe if I'm filming, because the camera tends to pick up a little more than in real life. Which I am filming after this. I'm just going to go ahead and try to perfect the skin a little. Okay. And then this next step is one I don't usually do, but I am wanting a highlight for the particular look I'm filming after this. So I'm going to take, this is something I recently picked up, Hard Candy Glow All the Way in Dollface. This is just a little sample. And I'm going to take a flat like foundation brush and just do that a little bit on the cheekbone. Okay, and now we're going to want to powder, and I recently improved my technique for powdering, and I find it works a lot better to not look caked, because that was always a big problem. And I do always set it even though I have dry skin, just because I really hate like when your makeup transfers, and I tend to not really be too careful about touching my face, so I always set it just because of that, but you don't need to if you have dry skin. So I'm going to go ahead and take, first I just go on my eye area, like that, just to set that, and also it will kind of even out your lid if you're not doing any other makeup, which I am. But and then for the rest of the face, what I do, pick up some, this is by the way Stila Illuminating Powder Foundation in 40 watts. It's very like light in the coverage just because it's very illuminating, so I can pick up a little more of this. And what I do is I apply it starting from outside going in, just because I don't want to get too much, and I use circular motions, which really buffs it in, which will keep it from sitting on top of your skin as much. And also will help you get a little extra coverage from it, if you want that. And I always like to relax my forehead when I'm doing this, because I actually already have wrinkles, like not wrinkles, but like lines, if you can see that up there. Which is so annoying, especially when I'm taking photos, because it definitely shows up, and so I always like to put a little extra, or to relax that area to get the minimal effect from that. So the last thing I do is I just brush downwards to again remove any stuff sitting on top of the skin. And as you can see, my blemishes aren't fully covered. That's okay, I'm not really like crazy about that. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect, in my opinion. And next I contour. I do contour every day, just because I do have a very round face. This is actually a shimmery contour. Most people say use matte. I just find this works a lot better than any of the matte stuff I've tried. This is Tarte Mineral Bronzer Park Avenue Princess, just a deluxe sample, but I've been using this for a while, and as you can see, I have not actually hit pan yet. I use my Teddy Bear Flat Beauty, just get a couple dabs of that and go under my cheekbone, kind of blending it upwards. Okay, and then I also like to go down the sides of my nose and just a bit on the end, and I find that really helps. And then you can also go like under your jawline to your temples, whatever. With this shimmery bronzer, I find it blends in very nicely, so I don't actually have to do too much work with it. And the last thing I do, like for my everyday routine, is brows. And to be honest, what I usually do, I'm not like very high maintenance with my brows at all. I usually just take my Great Lash Clear Mascara by Maybelline and go like that. And I brush it upwards and then out. I will just keep the hairs in place because my biggest problem is that they can be a bit unruly at times. So there is my finished everyday like foundation look. You can see it, the idea is really just to get as fresh a look as you can, give you some coverage, but if it's not perfect, it's not a huge thing. Just, it really, like, from here you can't really tell that I have acne. If you get really close you can, but it's not a big deal. Like, my skin's worse than usual. Some days I can just get away with like the tinted moisturizer. So I hope you found this helpful if you have very dry skin, and let me know any of your tips below because I'm always looking to improve my foundation routine, because this time of year it's so difficult to deal with like my skin because it gets so dry. So if you have any tips, please do let me know. Be sure to like this video if you like it or found it helpful, and subscribe if you want to see more. I will see you very soon. Bye bye.